How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be installing what I think are some of the coolest headlights available for first gen Sequoias and first gen Tundras. The headlights I'm going to be installing today are from a company called Desert Wolf Retrofits, and I am so excited about these headlights. I think they look awesome and they are so bright as well. So in today's video I am going to show you how to get them mounted up, how to do all of the wiring, and get these headlights set up. Thanks so much for tuning in, and let's go ahead and get started. So right now the headlights I have on my Sequoia, these are just from Amazon. They're kind of a smoked gray headlight, and they're designed for the 2005 to 2007 Sequoias, which have a slightly different headlight model. As you guys can see, they don't fit perfectly. There's this nice lip here, there's this gap here, and they look cool, but they just aren't the best fitting headlight because they aren't designed for this specific year of Sequoia. Here are the new headlights I got from Desert Wolf Retrofits. They are designed to fit with this specific year of Toyota Sequoias. They should have a lot better fitment than these current headlights that I have. Along with fitting better, I am super excited to have this kind of custom headlight. So I'm not going to show you guys too much right now, but once these are installed, I'll do a kind of more in-depth look and show you guys how awesome these are. The only thing we're going to be replacing today is the headlight. The Sequoia headlights are split up into two. There is the headlight, which is the bigger piece here, and then the corner lights. This is where the turn signals are. So we are going to be replacing just the headlight and upgrading that. The corner lights are just for turn signals, so I'm not too worried about that. We are just going to leave these and upgrade the headlights. I'm really excited to get these custom headlights on my first gen Sequoia. I think these are truly going to be some of the coolest looking headlights for first gen Sequoias or first gen Tundras. So definitely recommend checking out Desert Wolf Retrofits. All of the links are going to be in the description of this video. You guys can also use the code MaxwellPeters for 10% off your order from Desert Wolf Retrofits. Let's go ahead and get these headlights installed. Our first step today is to remove the stock headlight. Now, I'm kind of embarrassed to show this, but because the bolt holes don't really line up on these 2005 to 2007 Sequoias, I've added in some zip ties to help hold these in place. It's not perfect, they still move around a lot, but in order to remove it, there are just going to be a couple bolts, one kind of on the right side of the headlight and one up top. We are going to start by just removing those, or in my case, cutting some of those zip ties. Alright, so there are 3 bolts I removed. There is one that mounts right here on the right side. Sorry, it's probably pretty dark. There is another up here. This holds the corner light to the headlight. And then there's a third 10mm bolt up top here that holds the headlight in place. I believe that's everything that holds the headlight in place, and now we can go ahead and pull out this headlight housing. Alright, so here is the old headlight. Came out super easily, and this is just the plug on the back that you need to disconnect. It just pulls straight out. We are going to now remove the headlight housing on the other side. There's one 10mm bolt up top here. There is another 10mm bolt on the side here. There should be another, I think, push pin that holds the corner light to the headlight up top. With these 2005 to 2007 Sequoia headlights on my 2002 Sequoia, it didn't perfectly line up, so I just have a zip tie up here that's worked totally fine, but we are just going to cut and remove the zip tie. With the 3 bolts disconnected, or 2 bolts and the zip tie in my case, we should be able to remove this headlight housing. It's still going to have the headlight connected to it, so just don't yank it out because we still have to disconnect that. Here is the connector on the back. It just unplugs super easily. Before we do all of the wiring and I show you guys the process of setting these new headlights up, the first thing we're going to do is just mount and install the new headlights. What's really cool with the Desert Wolf Retrofits, all of the wiring is pretty much done and ready for you. And they also include, I believe, this 3D printed cap on the back of the headlights to make it nice and weather sealed. We are going to go ahead and bolt these up now. Once they're bolted up, we'll move on to the wiring. We have a couple bolts to mount up, and because these are the headlights specific for my 2002 Sequoia, all of the mounting holes should line up. We have 2 bolts on each side. I'll go ahead and bolt this up and show you guys how we do that. All right, I started by attaching this top 10mm bolt. The next one we're going to try and do mounts on kind of the outside of the headlight. I've had the corner light installed. I kind of had to pull it out just a little bit to get it out of the way to try and get this bolt attached down here. So now with the lower bolt tightened down and the top bolt, we are going to try and get this corner light back into place. And then if we come to the inside of the headlight, there are 2 more bolts for that area as well. Okay, so now we have 2 bolts attached on the inside of the headlight and 2 bolts attached on the outside of the headlight. And next thing we are going to do is just go over to the other side and do the exact same thing, just get the headlight installed. The headlights are bolted up, they look awesome, the fitment is so much better, and because we have all 4 of these bolts attached, they are so much more solid than the old ones were. Now that the headlights are installed, we are going to move on to the wiring. In the kit from Desert Wolf, you get a pre-made, ready-to-go wiring harness. This is going to make it super easy, and we're only going to have to do a little bit of work here to get this set up. The next step of the install is wiring up these headlights. There's a pre-made wiring harness in the kit from Desert Wolf Retrofits. That's going to make it a lot easier. It's kind of hard to show the process of where I'm running this wiring harness. So what I'm going to do is run it, get it all set up and connected, and then I will show you guys where I ran the harness. On the wiring harness, there is this kind of like headlight control box, and I am going to mount that. On the back side there, hopefully you guys can see that box. That is where I mounted the kind of like headlight control box there. So just right up here, just above the headlight, that way it's hidden and out of the way. As far as the wiring harness, I haven't connected everything yet, but I'm going to be running it underneath this, I don't know, this piece here on the front. It's the same area where I'm running the wiring harness for these 4 front lights, just underneath this. So this wire here is for the headlights. It goes underneath here. The first thing we're going to plug in on the driver's side here is this little piece. This goes into the stock headlight plug over on the driver's side. Just like when we were removing the old headlights and we disconnected that wiring harness, this plugs right back in there. It's just a 3-prong mount here and it should clip right in. All right, that plug there, that is the plug we just connected. It goes from the wiring harness right into the stock harness for the stock headlights. And I believe we only need to do this on one side. In this case, the driver's side. Now the next clips we're connecting here are just from the headlight to the wiring harness. And there are 2 different size clips, so they only connect. There's only one possible way that they could connect together. On the bigger of the 2 clips, there's also a ground wire. So we just need to ground this. We can really do it anywhere metal here in the engine bay. I usually just find a 10mm bolt mounted somewhere, loosen it, and then retighten it with this ring mount here. I'm going to figure out where I want to mount this ground here, and then I'll show you guys once I have it mounted. As for the ground on the passenger side, it's connected right up here. That is just to the right of the front headlight. Then the wiring runs underneath. I still need to clean it up here, but the wiring runs underneath this metal piece here on the front bumper, kind of goes up and underneath and connects to the back of the headlight. You can see all of the wiring is down there. As for the ground on the driver's side, I bolted it up right here just to the left of this front headlight. Again, just found a 10mm bolt that's connected to some metal, disconnected it, and remounted it with the ground there. So it's really as simple as that for grounding out the headlights. The last thing we need to do here is there is just a positive wire coming off of the wiring harness, and it has a fuse built in ready to go, and we are just going to connect this to the positive terminal of my battery. And we just connected the positive terminal here now. So in theory, our headlights should be working. Let's go ahead and test them out. All right, so I am going to put the Sequoia in accessory mode and then turn the headlight switch. Oh yeah, they came on. Let's go take a look. Those things are so bright. Wow, what a difference. All right, so that is super sick. Headlights are working. The last thing we're going to do here is just wire up the halos on the inside of the headlight. This is one of the coolest things that I'm the most excited for. Basically, what we're going to be doing is running a positive cable through the firewall, and I got this fuse tap. These things are super awesome. Basically, what we're going to do is just connect this into an accessory fuse. That way, when the Sequoia is turned to accessory mode, we're going to be pulling some power and the halos will turn on. So I'll show you guys the whole process of setting this up here. It shouldn't be super complicated, and I'm excited for this part because I think these halos are going to be one of the coolest parts of these retrofit headlights. This next part might be a little bit hard to show here, but coming out of the back of your headlight, and this may vary depending on which shroud you get, but in my case I have 3 wires, yellow, red, and black. The yellow wire is for the amber setting for this halo. The red is for the white, and then the black is just ground. So we'll hook up the grounds no matter what. And I think I'm going to run the yellow wire, which will be the amber, on the shroud here. This might vary slightly depending on your custom headlights, but in my case, we're going to be using the yellow wire. Basically, just going to run a wire from the passenger side over to the driver's side, connect these 2 yellow wires together, and then run them through the firewall and connect it to a fuse taps. So we're just soldering these ring loops on to the grounds, and this way we can just ground it out somewhere on the body of the Sequoia. I am going to connect the ground for the driver's side headlight right up here to this bolt. And on the passenger side, I went ahead and ran that ground wire just right to that bolt there. So right now I am on the driver's side of the vehicle. I have 1 yellow wire that's coming from the yellow wire on the passenger side headlight. I'm joining that with the yellow wire from the driver's side headlight. And then I have a 3rd wire that is going to go through the firewall. So next step here, and this is always a very fun process, is running wire through the firewall. Luckily, this wire seems to be somewhat thick and it's pretty narrow as well. I think I used 16 gauge. So I'm gonna try and run it through the firewall. Once we get through to the other side, I will show you guys connecting the fuse tap. Our inside fuse box here is located right down here. We have all of this excess and we don't need all of this excess. So I am going to cut some of this wire here. Sweet. And next thing, we are going to add on the accessory fuse tap. And basically, again, what this is going to do is we're going to tap into an accessory fuse. By accessory fuse, I just mean one that turns on when the car is turned to accessory mode. So when that key is turned. So we're going to tap into one of those and draw power from that. So that way, when I turn the Sequoia on, not start it, but just turn it on to accessory mode, we will be drawing some power and those front halos should turn on. Now that we've attached our added fuse, we are going to route it up and to this fuse box here. Here the top fuse is the new one that we just added. And again, that fuse is for like the window defoggers, I think. And don't worry about the bottom fuse tap. That is just for my aux beam switch panel. That is something completely separate. The top added fuse is the one we just added. All right, guys, I just finished up. The headlights are now installed. I ended up switching to the white halos instead of the amber. I am going to get the Sequoia out of here, clean up, and then I will show you guys more clips of these headlights. The halos, we'll test them out and just give you guys a closer look. I am out in the forest. It's getting darker here, and I just wanted to take a little bit of time to show you guys these new headlights and how bright they are. So first of all, let's take a look. This is what they look like with just the halos turned on. Let me darken it down so you guys can see. I think these are some of the coolest and most aggressive looking headlights available for Sequoias. They look so good, guys, and normally I'm not a fan of the headlight style on these Sequoias. Just the round bubble is not very aggressive. Let me tell you guys, these new headlights from Desert Wolf Retrofits have completely changed the front end look of my Sequoia. Here we are right now. I have the running lights on from the aux beam lights, and then I just have the halos turned on. Already the halos provide a little bit of brightness. Now watch this. This is one of the coolest parts about retrofit headlights, is that they are super bright as well. So I'm going to turn the headlights on here in 3, 2, 1, bam. These things are so bright, guys. Headlights off, headlights on. Here's one more example to show how bright these lights are. I have all of my aux beam lights turned on right now, the forefronts and the ditch lights as well. Now with my old headlights, which were already LED headlights, when I turned the headlights on with all of the aux beam lights on, you barely could see any difference. I am going to turn the Desert Wolf Retrofit headlights on here and you guys can take a look. Here we go. That is with the Desert Wolf Retrofit headlights on. Can you guys see the difference? Even with all of those bright aux beam lights, you can still see when the Desert Wolf Retrofit headlights are turned on. That is insanely impressive because those aux beam lights are already so bright. Well, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. This was the process of installing custom retrofit headlights on my first gen Sequoia from Desert Wolf Retrofits. If you have a 4Runner, Tacoma, Sequoia, Tundra, any type of Toyota, definitely go check out Desert Wolf Retrofits. I can't recommend them enough. I am so happy with how these headlights look. If you are interested in purchasing some headlights from Desert Wolf Retrofits, don't forget you can use the code MaxwellPeters to save 10% on your order. There's going to be a link to Desert Wolf Retrofits website in the description of this video, so definitely go check that out. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's completely free and it's a great way to help support my channel as well. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.